Hey everyone, it's Miss Green. This is a video. I'm just going to help you guys review for your variations test on Friday. So we're going to go through a few problems and help you to know how to set up your equations and solve for what you need to know. So the first problem I'm going to give you is I want you to identify all of the equations here that represent direct variation. Now if we remember, our direct variation, that equation that we had looks like y equals k times x. So I'm going to be looking for a constant times one other thing in these equations. So I'm going to look, and I may have to rewrite some of these. That's the key to this, is they may give it to us in a lot of different forms. We just have to know how to get it into this y equals kx form so that we can tell if it's direct. So for this one, it doesn't give it to me in my original form. I'm going to have to move some things around. I can pick either v or w to be my variable that I get to be my y. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to pick v. You could pick w if you want, but I want to get v by itself. So I'm going to divide both these sides by w, and I'm going to end up with v equals 3 over w. So in this case, my constant k, I'm going to look for whatever number is in the equation. My k is my 3. It's being divided by w. So that is not a direct variation. That looks like my inverse variation because my constant is being divided by another variable. So this one, A, I'm going to put no, that's not direct variation. Now I'm going to look at B. This one is already in the right form that we want to see. We have y equals a number times x. This fits our equation y equals kx. And if we look, whatever number is here, 7/5, 7/5 is our k. So this, yes, it is a direct variation. All we're doing is we want to write our equation in the form that we want to see to tell if it matches our direct variation. So I'm going to look at C now. I have two variables. It is already in a form that I can use. I have r equals 7 divided by s. So in this, my number or my constant is 7, and my variables are r and s. Now this doesn't look like my y equals kx because one of my k is being divided by one of my variables, not multiplied. So this is another inverse variation, and I'm going to say no for C. Now I'm going to look at D, and I have my variables are u and m. I have a 3 being multiplied, so if this is a variation, that could be my constant. But right here, I have a +1. And if you remember from that first day when we talked about direct variation, our direct variations have to go through 0, 0. So if I plug in 0 and 0, I still have a 1 out here. This is not going to go through the origin at 0, 0. So it is not a direct variation equation. E, this is another one just like part A. I'm going to have to move some things around to get it to look like what I want. So I can either choose to get w by itself or z by itself. I'm going to choose w because that's going to take a few less steps. So in order to get w by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by z. And I get w equals 6 times z. I have my two variables, w and z. I have a number, 6 is my constant. This does match my y equals kx form because I have a variable multiplied by a constant. So this one is a direct variation. I just had to move some things around to get it to look like what I wanted. All right, last one. So I have n equals 13 over 9b. And unlike this one up here with b, this one we had a fraction, but our x is on the outside. This one, our b, is inside the fraction and it's in the denominator. So this is the same thing as writing, I could have n equals 13 over 9 is my constant, but this would be times 1 over b. So we're still dividing by a variable. If we have our constant and we're dividing it by a variable, that's inverse variation. So I'm going to say no, that is not direct, it's inverse. And I know that because my b is being divided here. So next I have a word problem. It tells us Kepler's third law of planetary motion states the square of the time, t, required for a planet to make one revolution around the sun varies directly as the cube of the average distance d of the planet from the sun. So if k is the constant of proportionality, or we talked about it as the constant of variation, they're both the same thing, we want to write a formula that represents this variation. So they were really nice to us. They gave us the variables we want to use. So we know we have to use t, and we know we have to use d, and it even tells us k is our constant. We should know that. So let me look for my key words. Let's see, I have the square of time, so I know I'm going to have a t squared somewhere. The time required for a planet to make a revolution about the sun. Here's another keyword, varies directly. So I know I'm going to be using a direct variation, or something that looks like y equals kx. It varies directly as the cube of the average distance, d. So I know that I'm going to be using a d raised to the third power, d cubed, at some point. So now I just need to figure out how to put those all together into my direct variation equation. And like I said before, direct variation always looks like y equals kx. We've just got to figure out what letters to plug into what places. So it tells me that we have the square of time. I'm going to put that first. So t squared equals, it tells us I have k, my constant. I always have k times something for variations. And so now I have to find out what it varies directly by. If it varies directly, I'm going to multiply whatever comes next, which is d cubed. So this is my formula that represents that word problem. All we've got to do is find out what variables, it may give you a variable, and that'll be really nice, and find out what type of variation it is, and just set those up accordingly. So number 3, this one is just a plain old word problem. It tells us when y varies inversely, so we're going to pay attention to that word, with x and with z, what is the constant of proportionality, or constant of variation, we know that that is k, when y equals 1/4, x equals 12, and z equals 5/6. So it gives us some values, and this time we want to solve for k. So our first step, as always, we want to write a variation equation. It says that y varies inversely with both x and z. So this is going to be a combination sort of, and both of them are inverse on the bottom. Instead of combining direct and inverse, we're combining two inverse things. So it tells us that y varies. I'm going to write y equals k times something. That's always how I start these. And it says inversely with x and z. In this combination problem, I know that an inverse variable here is always going to go in my denominator. So I'm going to divide k by both x and z. So that's the equation for this problem. Now I need to solve for k, and it gives me some numbers that I can plug in. So I think first what I want to do, you can do this either plug in the numbers or you can move the variables around. I like to move the variables around first. So that's what I'm going to do. To get rid of that xz in the denominator, I'm going to multiply by xz on both sides. So I get k is equal to x times z times y. And now I can plug in each of my variables. So it tells me that x is 12. It tells me that z is 5/6. And it tells me that y is 1/4. So remember, we're not going to be able to use Desmos on our test, so I'm either going to have to use a calculator or I can work this out myself and see. I'm going to try to cancel some things and make this into a simpler problem that I can do by hand. I'm going to look at this 12 and this 1/4. 1/4 of 12 is 3, so I can cancel out 1/4 times 12. I'm just multiplying them. Because of our commutative property, we can multiply things out of order. So I'm going to make that now into 5/6 times 3, because I just multiplied these two things first. So now 5/6 times 3, 5 is the same thing as 5/6 times 3 over 1. 5 times 3 is 15 over 6. I can simplify both of those by dividing by 3. So I get 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So my final answer is k equals 5/2. And since that is all that they were looking for, they wanted to know what k is, that's my answer. If it wanted the equation, I would have to go back to y equals k over xz and plug in 5/2 for k. But since all it's asking for is k, that's my answer. Okay, this one is telling us to identify the type of variation if it is a variation. If it's not, we'll put none. This is just like that other problem that we did. We want to get it in a form that makes sense if it's not already in that, and then we can determine which equation it matches up with. So this one gives me y equals 31. If I see a number, that's usually going to be my constant. So 31 is my k times x times z times w. Now this one, I should recognize this. This is straight from our joint variation equation because they're all being multiplied by our constant, and we have more than one variable being multiplied. So I'm going to say that this is joint. So for B, I'm going to look at this, and I have y equals 1/2 x minus 5. I have a constant k being multiplied by x, but wait, I'm subtracting a 5. That doesn't fit any of our forms. If we didn't have the minus 5, this would look a lot like direct variation. But because there's a minus 5, we know that it doesn't go through 0, 0. So this is not a direct variation, and we can put none. For C, we have y equals x divided by 9. Now don't let this one trick you. Usually if we see something being divided, we would think inverse. But notice x is on the top. I could rewrite this as 1/9 times x, and it would be the same thing. So if I look at it that way, I see that my k is 1/9. It's being multiplied by x. So that means that I have a direct variation equation here, not an inverse. Because even though we are dividing by 9, we're dividing by a constant. We could move that around. Our x is still being multiplied. So that makes it a direct. As long as our x is not in the denominator, we know that it's a direct there. Okay, for D, we're going to have to move some things around because this is not in the form of any of our equations like we had before. So I want to get y by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by x. Or that's the same thing as multiplying by 1 over x. So I end up with y equals 3 over 11 times x. So we've gotten this into our form. Our k could be 3/11, but either of these will work. We have x in the denominator. We're dividing our constant by x. So that means it should tell us it's an inverse variation. A lot of this is just seeing where our x and our y are in relation to each other. And E, I want to get some variable by itself. Let's see. I could do, let's get y by itself because that's what we're usually looking for. So I'm going to divide this one by 5z because y is being multiplied by 5 and by z. And I get that y is equal to 17x over 5z. Our number here, we have 17 over 5, that's our k. We have an x on the numerator, we have a z in the denominator. So I have one thing up in the numerator, one thing down in the denominator. This means I have a combined variation because I have something that's varying directly and also something that's varying inversely. X is directly to y and z is inversely as y. One last problem. We have y is directly proportional to x and inversely proportional to z. When y equals 52, x equals 8, and z equals 2, it gives us those numbers to plug in. And then we need to solve and see what y is if x equals 14 and z equals 7.